Wow. So, some quite intense and powerful integrations going on with me as I go through this cleanse. Today is a Wednesday, and I started on Tuesday, so technically today is day 8. I haven't reached phase 1 clean yet, so I'm still in 0, which is basically getting to the right color and texture and smell. So I hope this doesn't take too long, but it might take. My mentor, she had once said it could take even up to almost a full 28 days, a full 30 days. So we'll see. I have had a treat here and there, but I'm fairly sure I've had no added sugar. That's the risk, and no, I might have had some wheat, but it will start. We'll see. Okay. So I'm watching something from Scott Adams. Scott Adams was the creator of Dilbert, formerly the beloved creator of Dilbert, and then when he endorsed Trump, he became the hated creator of Dilbert. Although he didn't endorse him initially, he said that he was the greatest persuader he's ever seen, and that he will win. And then he explained why he will win and what the value in that is, but that he was endorsing Hillary because that was politically expedient. Basically, people would want to kill you, essentially, in California if you endorse Donald Trump. Now, there's a lot of reasons why. People think it's because California is more liberal, but we're going to talk about ancient philosophy again here, and we'll talk about the East and West and North and South polarity. Historically, the left or the West is the feminine polarity, and the right or the East is the masculine. Sun rises in the East through the intellect and then descends into the body. Okay? Now, the North is also more masculine, and the South is more feminine. Okay? So what you'll find is New York City will be the most masculine place in the United States, and then you'd think LA would be the most feminine. So it'd be the most feeling, okay, the most welcoming, the most, that would be the main things, and then the New York would be the most analytical. I know the New York piece fits, although I don't think this Southern California thing fits. I don't, but it would have to be true. I can give you a simpler example that does match. The intellectuals of the San Francisco Bay Area are more feminine, okay, in bent, and that fits. Now, they're also more analytical. The North, more analytical. The West, more feminine. So that must be most socialist, more communist, more inclusive, more of so redistributive, more of, and it's not actually equality they're looking for. They're looking for parity. So they want redistribution and equal fungibility of all people and pieces. So everyone in the family gets the same amount of food, according to Mom. That's San Francisco. Okay? But they analyze it. All right? Which is the great source of feminist intellectualism has moved to California, where I went, Berkeley. Yeah, it was a hellhole. I loved it. The greatest intellectual training I've ever had in my life. In many ways. But in other ways, it was horrific. Because of the rampant racism, and gender bias, and it's actually against men. I was hated, okay, because I was thought of as some alpha. I thought, oh yeah, he's had his life gone his whole way, so that's why they see this big, strong, strong jawline, alpha guy. They don't realize that I was a skinny Indian kid in a world who didn't know what India was told to go back to Iran in 1979, Iraq in 1991. Like, I don't even get the right racial slur. And then basically they think I'm like Muslim, which not, to give Muslims extra pain that they don't need, but that they ask for because Muhammad was a raping, murdering, basically warlord. Well, he's considered a fallen prophet. Yes, he's a man who made it all the way to the end and then fell. Because when you choose to spread God by war and violence, literally the Quran is riddled with this. Okay? That there's an issue. It's the only one. And if you look around the world, wherever there's a problem, Islam doesn't get along with anyone. Okay? It doesn't get along with anyone. Simple example, since India basically liberated itself from the British in 1948, okay? Pakistan's had like 5 governments. India's had 1. The only difference between India and Pakistan is that Pakistan is Muslim, all right? And it came from the outside. So I don't want to cap too much on them because they're going to come together with the rest of the people of the book, with the Jews and the Christians. Or it's going to be war, like it was the last time Islam was basically taking over the world in 1492 when they got pushed back by Ferdinand and Isabella. And that was the last time we colonized. This is another renaissance. We colonized the new world then. We're going to colonize space right now. It's going to be the Commonwealth countries. So it's the United States, Britain, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India. Okay, yeah. We got India in the backfield with 1 billion people. We'll just send skinny Indians into space that don't need to eat a lot of food and reproduce like rabbits. See that? Totally said that with a straight face. So, how does this come back to Scott Adams and the Scott Adams blog, and why does this matter with Trumpism and all that? The Trump thing we're not going to get into today, but we're going to get into the moist robot hypothesis. Okay? And he's written a book about this. Let's see, I haven't read this book, but he has a bunch of really great books. He's How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, the story of his life. I would think it's a bestseller, but I'll deal with that later. I mean, he talks about influence and a lot of other issues because he is a trained hypnotherapist, among other things. The whole point of this is with the moist robot hypothesis, your brain and body it's a wet computer, and that your body is the interface to that brain, so it's part of it. And that's 100% true. And historically, the brain is actually not in charge of the body because it will do things that are logically accurate, but physically suicidal. Because it will act to preserve itself, and it will give more power to itself to the rest of the body. Now, that's a prime example. We'll look at New York, or we'll look at San Francisco. But New York, for example, they're basically eating their feet. Okay, what does that mean? If the United States was a human being, when you're accumulating wealth too much at the top, at the head, right, you're going to get really fat. Okay, you're going to get really fat as a whole because basically you're feeding your brain all the time. You're eating and eating and eating because you're not taking care of your body. Okay? And then if the feet think they're more important than everyone else, you're basically also going to get fatter and fatter and fatter because you're going to get lazy. You're not going to do anything, right? You're going to take all the energy towards your feet. You're going to get edema, swelling, and things like that. So you can see the different types of basically abuse based on the type of the part of the body that you are. The solution to this type of behavior is the heart. And here's where our correspondences to Perfect Paradox and healing and what I've learned in the last 15 years that was frustrating my healing. In my earlier videos, you'll remember in Everyone Poops, where I talk about love, that was the piece I was missing. And that was the piece that I could not heal. Even when I got really clean and had perfect poop at one point and was very healthy, I still had raging fury inside me and it wouldn't last. I couldn't get it to anchor. And you heard me explain that getting it to anchor involves a soft purchase. It actually involves the feminine. And so it's no wonder that society is horribly emotionally out of bent right now. Because mom left home and stopped doing her job. So the whole of society is just completely damaged. Alright? We're hurting. Alright? And your children are crying out in pain. Mom, come home. Your children need you. Okay? This is why our manners have fallen horribly. This is why our emotional communication is in the basement, in the dumpster. This is why people can't even manage their own emotions. Because they have not been trained to do so. Alright, now, I'm doing the best I can to lead by example, and I've had to learn to mastermind. I'll tell you a great story of my mom last night. It's a great story. So I'm going to visit her because it's my mom, right? There's a lot of reasons why. But I told her it was to go skiing so that she would not feel uncomfortable that I was taking time off work to go see her because she doesn't want my career to suffer. This is the feminine thinking, okay? My mom would never say this. I'll tell you what she did say. I arranged the ticket. I got it done in one day and surprised her and called her last night. And instead of being excited, the first thing she says is like, well, if there's no skiing, maybe, blah, blah, blah. She says there, I might not be able to get reservations. So, it's like, what do you mean? And I got so mad, I said the F word. I said, Mom, I busted my ass. I got this done in less than one day. I saved $350 because I'm flying in a certain way to, I'm flying from the destination of a business trip back to that destination, which is close to where she lives. Totally legit, totally ethical, totally legal. Okay? So I'm flying for a conference, and then at the end of the conference, I'm going to go home and then fly back to the conference site and then go home from there. And that way the subsidized cost is covered, and then my cost is covered. And so eventually I realized, I said, oh, wait a minute, Mom. What you're saying is that I might not be able to go skiing if you don't get reservations. And, and she said, yes. Oh, I probably didn't make that clear. I go really fast through things. She said to me when I said I got tickets, she says, well, we may not be able to get reservations. And I got really mad because I was like, look, you're not even thankful to see me. Let me tell you something, Mom. I'm only coming to see you. She still didn't get it. Said, Mom, if you don't want me to come, I'm not going to come right now. And she just stared at me because I have her on FaceTime. And I watched. And I saw things about my mom I never even knew. She was unaware of even her own emotions. Sound familiar? Yeah, never seen this before, have you? Yeah, if you have a son and a daughter, you'll see the difference immediately. Okay? Especially if you have two sons and then a daughter. Or two sons and a daughter is all you need, and it will show you immediately. Because you'll see the boys the same, and then you'll see the daughter behave a completely different way and rationalize. Her rationalizations and her engine, the way her software and hardware work together is completely different because she's designed for a different purpose. All right? A human being is technically a man and a woman together. That's the smallest example of society. Okay? With the masculine being the executive. All right? It's extremely important. So, let's go back to that. Now, is the feminine the auditing or the judicial? That's a longer conversation. I don't think so, but I do know some of the best auditors I know are women because they're very good at applying rule sets. They're the best at applying rule sets. Their entire world exists of rule sets and policy. Although men are supposed to write the policy and define it, and they're supposed to apply it and live within it. So that's the general model. Now, this is quite a bit about masculine and feminine today, and we've kind of gone over my normal 10 minutes. And I apologize for that. But the main conversation is about three things. The moist robot hypothesis, that your body and brain are one, okay? The human family, male and female, are one, okay? And there was a third thing, the third thing is the executive, okay? The executive may be in charge, but the heart, you must lead with the heart. Because what the heart does when the body gets out of balance is your executive, your heart chooses to focus on something else. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why love is supposed to drive you. You focus on something else, and the body will work in relation to itself automatically. This is also why Mr. Trump and Making America Great Again was so important for the executive of the United States and to lead humanity, and why it's so important. Why the United States is the leader of the world is because we are the amalgamation of the rest of the world, and we are the executive. Now, that's extremely important. When people talk about racism and all kinds of other things, they don't realize that generally, quote, white people and Europeans are the smallest proportion of the world as far as population. Now, some people will say, oh, they need more resources, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into all that, okay? The system takes care of itself. Focus on getting off the planet. Focus on a vision for humanity becoming multiplanetary. We're going to become interplanetary this century. It's been foretold for a long time. It's the reason for my exact birth, and I'm very excited about it, just as many of you are. And for those of you that aren't, I'm sorry, pet the bunny rabbit, relax. A lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth because people are afraid. It's understandable. The job of the father is to help allay people's fears. And that's what we're here to do. Dad's home, okay? And I had a Twitter hashtag, Dad's home, and he's pissed, okay, essentially. But you may not know what that means from England or someone else. That pissed means drunk, but the father's home and he's upset because he's come home and people, women are sleeping all around, his wife and daughter sleeping all around, having kids out of wedlock, they're getting fat, trashy, not taking care of themselves, dressed horribly, okay? The boys are basically hating themselves and they're depressed, they're fat and lazy, okay? And the last thing a fat kid needs is another cookie. Okay, when your boy gets to a certain age and he's fat and wants another cookie, you know what you do? You show him how to make flour, how to go and extract chocolate liqueur, how to make sugar cane into sugar, and through the process of actually creating the resources and synthesizing them to get his cookie. First of all, his emotional problems go away immediately, okay? And then he learns how to do something with his body, and then he also learns value, okay? He learns relationship, and he learns balances. Balances. That's how you make a young man. Women are born, men are made. Women are born, men are made. Women are born, men are made. Okay? And that's the key. So God bless, and may you have love and peace in your heart. Hari Om.